Welcome to Everyday Life. Thank you for joining our podcast, Conversations Over Coffee. My name is Jen.
And I'm Dagda.
And we're going to hit you with the explicit content warning right off the bat. This podcast does include adult situations and adult language from time to time.
I'm an angel. I never fucking cuss.
Okay. Anyways, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go. Tis the 50th episode for Dagda and Jen. Another hour or so of you listening with a grin. Dagda and his ego, Jen with her sighs. It's an episode of facts and laughs to no one's surprise. Can you believe the holiday season is finally here? Filled with warmth, love, laughter, friends, and with cheer. So grab a drink and sit back and settle on in. Let our talk about Kringle and Krampus begin. Happy holidays, you beautiful son bitches. 2:30 this morning. That's why I couldn't sleep. 2:30 this morning.
Nice.
Happy holidays to you. Happy holidays to you. I know you're not really big on the holidays, but...
I'm not exactly bah humbug, but I'm also not excited about it.
No, well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like just another day for you, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it just depends on what, Unky wants to do, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe.
You might end up working on Christmas Eve.
Maybe.
You never know. Which...
On Christmas Eve, not Christmas, though.
Yeah, not Christmas. Christ almighty, not on Christmas. No, well, that's what this is. This episode is coming out on Christmas Eve. So for our listeners, this is like a little treat for them because, what? I'm getting a new episode on Christmas Eve? Why, yes, you are. You're welcome. Yes, you are. You're welcome.
A very merry unbirthday to you.
There's so much you could talk about with Christmas and it being what it is. And at the core of it, you have to look past the commercialization of so much of it. You really have to be look at it for what it's supposed to be for, and not what we've Americanized it to be. Because we have Americanized it to be consumerism. Because way back, we can go way back.
In the Wayback Machine?
In the way back. In the way back.
I mean, that is on the internet.
It's on the interwebs.
It's a series of tubes. It's not like a dump truck.
And it goes beep bop boop bop zip zip. So in the holiday spirit, because we'd actually kind of talked about it a little bit in the last few days, I actually did some research, which is your favorite thing. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. Only it kind of backfired a little bit this morning, which I already told you about it. But yeah. Anyways, so because I'm a little wacky-do, I like to say Kris Kringle, but we all know him commonly as Santa Claus.
Yep. Saint Nick.
Good old Saint Nick. Now, do you know the history of why we associate Santa Claus as Saint Nick?
Because the original story is based off of Saint Nicholas.
Yes. So
as far as the bringing treats and punishments to young children.
So he never brought punishment to young children. What he did do was ignore bad children. So when you go all the way back, which is very, very far back. So the original Saint Nicholas was known as Saint Nicholas of Myra, and he was born March 15th, 207, and died the 6th of December, 343, which is really important to remember, 6th of December.
Okay.
Okay. He was also known as Nicholas of Bari from Patara in Anatolia, which is the modern day Italia province in Turkey. Okay. And he died in Myra or Myra. I'm not sure which would be the proper pronunciation of it.
I have no idea.
The Diocese of Asia from the Roman Empire, during a Roman Empire. In the Greek folklore, he was known also as the Lord of the Sea. There's reason for that, but he was also known as the Lord of the Sea.
So he's also Poseidon?
No.
Okay.
He's not the god of the sea. He's the Lord of the sea.
Okay.
And you're also, so they're distinguishing it, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so he's known as the patron saint of children, defender of the faith, the wonder worker, the holy hierarchy, and Bishop of Myra, and the venerable. He has a lot of titles that go with him that all are associated with him, and out of proper respect, you're supposed to be saying them all because every different one is associated for a different reason, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, besides just hearing that St. Nicholas gave like treats and gifts to children, do you know any of the others of stories associated with him?
Not really.
So he became known as the patron saint of children for a couple of like very specific stories. Okay. And it was not giving treats and candies to kitties. Mm-hmm. So at the very beginning of the whole story of St. Nicholas, he actually rescued three young girls from a life of prostitution by dropping a sack of gold in their window for 3 consecutive nights so their dad could pay a dowry for them so they didn't have to go into prostitution.
Okay.
He
prevented them from becoming prostitutes.
That is correct. Okay. So, yeah, the look on your face is great. Yeah, because at first I'm like, wait a minute. If you're putting sacks of gold in with these kids, isn't that kind of... But then that's when you read on that it's because the father couldn't afford a dowry. So St. Nicholas paid the dowry. Because St. Nicholas of Myra, he was actually born into a very well-to-do family. Mm-hmm. So,
if you're dropping bags of gold...
Yeah, sacks.
Yeah.
Not bags, sacks, which sacks to me are different than bags. They're bigger, but I don't know. But it was enough to pay for the dowry of each daughter to be married, and not because I guess that's what they did back there. If you weren't married by a certain age and your parents couldn't support you anymore, you were off to prostitute, you go. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it ain't much different than like but some states around here. Anyways,
Alabama.
I didn't say that. So he was also known for having calmed a storm at sea. Now, the interesting thing about the storm at sea is it's almost like he partially parted the sea.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a really big storm that was going to wreak havoc on the like local town or whatever. So he calmed the sea, and it's almost like he partially parted it because he forced the storm to stop. Yeah, trust me. It's some crazy stories that are associated with him. He also saved 3 innocent soldiers from a wrongful execution. He stopped their execution and said they're innocent and proved they're innocent. They believed him. And so he saved those lives. When he was younger man, like a kid almost, like preteen maybe, he actually chopped down a tree that was possessed by a demon.
Okay.
He's also known to be the resurrector of 3 small children who were killed and butchered by an actual butcher during a time of not famine. It wasn't quite famine. It was just basically it was a lazy ass butcher, and it was during leaner times, but he butchered them up and he was going to sell them as hams. He was going to sell their meat as hams. So Nicholas came in and resurrected them, stopped him and resurrected these children that had already been chopped up.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of crazy, right? And then the coolest story, one of the coolest stories, I think, is that during another famine, because they had famines a lot back then, apparently.
Yes.
So during another famine, St. Nicholas went down to the port. There was a ship that had come in bearing wheat for the delivery to the Emperor of Constantinople. Okay. And he convinced these sailors who were delivering this wheat. He said, as we go, can we spare, brother? Can we give to these people to help the hungry? And the story goes that they did. They shared this wheat all the way, because he promised them. He said, I promise you, I give you my word, the weight will be no different on delivery. If you do this kindness and you help these people, you will be rewarded. Everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. And so they go through this town. They distributed enough wheat for 2 full years and to sow to create crops again, and still had the full weight delivery to the emperor.
Okay, so that is definitely a third miracle.
Yeah, so it's really, I think it's a really cool one. And the other thing he was known for, which is kind of like a side thing, he was a matchmaker. He was known to help people find like good life partners, which is really interesting because I'm just like, this guy is just like unbelievable. But these stories there's not a ton written about him. Mm-hmm. Just most of these prominent stories about him.
Yeah.
But a lot of people still took faith on what he did because while he was in prison during the persecution, it's considered the persecution of the Diocletian, Diocletan, Diocletian, which is the persecution of Christians in the Roman Empire by Diocletian himself, Maximian, and Galerius and Constantinus. They wanted to rescinded the legal right of Christians and demanded like everybody that was a Christian do traditional religious practices, and those who wouldn't, they were imprisoned. So he was actually imprisoned from 303 to 306. And when the accession of Constantine happened, that's when he was released. He enjoyed doing, during his lifetime, he enjoyed doing secret gift giving. And it wasn't just to kids. Okay. Like he, some of the stories talk about how he had walked through the town and he'd found, dirty, filthy shoes outside because you didn't wear your shit in the house. But he'd found them outside and he'd like drop coins in them and everything like that. But it was so inspirational. Now, remind you, he's over in Myra, right? Or Myra. And but the word got through, and it was so inspirational that many nuns in Belgium and France did the same thing with baskets of food and clothing for the needy, poor, and hungry.
Okay.
So that's the basic story of Saint Nicholas himself, the actual patron saint of children, or of brewers. Because somebody actually did a painting depicting him saving the 3 murdered children out of the barrel, the kids that were being pickled to be sold as ham. And people took that because he was standing over this barrel, and these kids in the painting are almost cherub-like. They took that as him giving blessing for brewers.
Bah.
So that's, so anyways, So that's did you know all of that or any of that?
No.
Only thing I remember hearing about St. Nicholas himself is just that he was kind and good to children. And that's where Santa Claus came from. So
it's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge part of it. It's a huge inspiration as far as the representation of what Santa Claus is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So the first iteration of Santa Claus, right? What we see as Santa Claus is actually an evolution of a Dutch tradition in regards to Saint Nicholas, also known as Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas.
Cinder Claus? Because he comes down the fucking chimney?
I think so. Well, there's a reason for that, why the chimney is there. And Sinterklaas was always ascended by Zwart Piet, a.k.a. Black Pete.
Oh, yeah.
Which, do you know about him? Because I feel I felt like almost a gasp reading it. Like, are you serious? It was not a big thing back then. But it was a white guy in shiny clothes and blackface.
Okay. I thought it was an actual black dude.
Nope. Okay. Fair skin, painted himself black.
Okay.
So anyways, so where everybody associates Santa Claus with carrying this huge sack of toys, that's not what he did. He actually carried a large, bright red book, and he would talk to each of the children, and he would write down if they were good or not. If they were good, Black Pete, who carried the coins and a chimney switch, Black Pete would either drop a coin for them right then and there.
Okay.
Or he would take the chimney switch to their ass and beat them.
Yeah.
But what became more common practice to hear was that Black Pete would go down the chimney, hence why he had the chimney switch with him, and he would dole out punishment to the naughty children and leave the little coins or gifts for the kids, the good kids.
Yeah.
So
it's probably also where they started saying that he would leave coal for the bad kids.
So I could not find where that evolution happened. That very well is probably that very well could probably be a Germanic or a American twist to it, because there's a lot of people who don't believe and don't agree with that around the holidays, when you're supposed to be celebrating the birth of Christ, the end of all harvests, the birth of Christ, and you're supposed to be paying tribute to St. Nicholas's death with all of this happening. So a lot of people didn't want to, whip their kids, because it's not like you got a switch taken to you and it was whack, whack, you're done. It was like the descriptors were kind of like dealing out harsh punishment and using the switch firmly and swiftly. So it's like, makes my butt hurt. Anyways,
they got what they deserved.
They, I feel that same way. Yeah. Anyways, so the evolution that we know today, right? It's believed that when the Dutch came to America and established the colony of New Amsterdam, which is at the southern tip of Manhattan, they brought the tradition with them. However, there's a little bit of a dispute to this. Okay. So Howard Hegeman of the New Brunswick Theological Seminary maintains the tradition of celebrating the Sinterklaas in New York existed in the early settlements of the Hudson Valley, which was colonized in the 1600s.
Okay. Yeah.
So he maintains that. So it's a 40-year difference. It's a 40-year difference where people are saying, oh, the Dutch just brought this, and the other guy is going, no, we were already doing that. Well, it started somewhere. It's not something the Americans just thought of, because it was probably Germanic and Dutch in nature.
Okay.
And the Germans come up soon. Anyways, so the biggest take about it was, although the tradition had died down significantly by the early 19th century, the arrival of German immigrants in the 1840s renewed the whole ideology of the whole celebration of Christmas and St. Nicholas. And a lot of the aspects of what they brought with them still remain in tradition today. And that includes decorating the Christmas trees. That symbolizes everlasting life, hope, and renewal. Okay. They sung, and the singing of songs or carols are to connect families and community, to strengthen and connect families and community. The get together as a family to give gifts is to symbolize love and appreciation. Like, I appreciate what you've done for me all year. Here's a reward for you, kind of thing. And then, of course, a family feast, generally with family, could be with neighbors as well. But it's all about doing connection and celebration of each family. So, yeah, so it's really interesting. So the Dutch were here, the early 1600s. The guy, Howard Hegeman's going, no. In New York, they were already doing this. Well, of course, because that's the first port of stop for all immigrants, right? Well, it used to be. Yeah. Not anymore. Now if you got a boat, welcome to Miami. Kidding. Anyways, but then, the 1640s or the mid to late 1600s, you have the Dutch who come in and they reinforce a lot of this, and then it dies back, and you've got the German peoples who come here, and a huge, massive German immigration comes in, and they're just like, no, because one of the reasons why not only was it a tradition from homeland, right? But it was really important to the Germanic people to keep the tradition alive, because they were starting new. They were starting over. So they needed to reinforce their faith with each other, their loyalty, their families, and build strong connections within the new communities. Okay. So it's pretty cool. But the Germans also brought something else. Could you pray tell? Tell me what it is, brother.
Schnitzel.
Well, stuff.
Krampus.
They brought Krampus. Yes. Krampus. So he's originally from the Alpine folkloric traditions. Yeah. So it's a combination from German and Czech folklore that originated in southern Germany and central Europe around the Alp regions. So all around the Alps, okay?
Okay.
So Krampus is believed to be a pagan supernatural who was assimilated to the Christian devil. So he was associated as, that's the Christian devil, for the winter solstice. Thank you. Me and words do not work. And he was known to be the punisher of the wicked. He is portrayed as, and this is the way they've always, no matter how far back you go, it is all the same. He is a half man with horns, one human foot, one goat foot, or a cloven foot. And he's either covered in black or brown hair with a very long snake or dragon-like tongue and fangs. He carries chains, thought to symbolize the binding of the devil. Sometimes the chains have bells, just literally for dramatic effect to invoke fear. He carried a bundle of birch switches with him so that he could swat children as he went in the beginning. And over time, that was replaced by a whip, so he could whip wicked men, women, and children. So it is rumored that on Christmas Eve, Krampus travels with a sack or a basket strapped to his back that he uses to cart off any evil children for the purpose of drowning them, eating them, or just simply taking them to hell. In the 17th century is when he becomes paired with St. Nicholas as a helper, and basically performing the similar duties that Black Pete did traditionally. So what's really interesting is, so December 5th, whoever celebrates Krampus, is Krampus Day. That's the day he comes through and checks for the wicked children, right?
Okay.
That's traditionally what it was. So December 5th is Krampus Day. December 6th is St. Nicholas Day.
Okay.
And so these have been an evolution from doing these celebrations on those days to everything just gets moved to Christmas Eve, right?
Okay.
So, but here's the funny thing about Krampus and the power of traditions and the power of how people perceive these folklore warnings.
Okay.
After the 1932 election in Austria, Krampus tradition was prohibited under the new far-right conservative regime. You were in a lot of fucking trouble if you celebrated Krampus or did any of the Krampus traditions, which one of the biggest things used to be people exchanging cards, whether they were funny or satirical or, just kind of a warning. It was commonplace to exchange Krampus cards to keep people on the up and up, straight and narrow. And remember, don't be naughty or Krampus will come to get you. And even if you got caught doing that, you were in a shitload of trouble.
Nah.
And it was such an adjutant and such a concern for these far right conservative political figures and stuff that by time we get to the 1950s.
Was this in Germany or the United States?
This is in Austria.
Austria? Okay.
Yeah. So in the 1950s, the government of Austria distributed pamphlets that were titled, "Krampus is an Evil Man." They were afraid that encounters with Krampus or the threat of Krampus would do mental damage to children because
Emotional damage.
Because when they celebrated Krampus, December 5th, people would dress up as Krampus and they'd parade through the seats.
Yep.
They would parade through the streets and they would give away coins or sweet treats or whatever to what appeared to be good little children. And they'd whip the ass of somebody who appeared bad.
Yeah.
But that was all outlawed. No, you could not do that. So we're in the 1950s. This is happening. Now,
yeah.
What's interesting is that's 70 years ago, right? So Krampus dies back. People don't really talk about him in any way, shape, or form until the early 2000s when Krampus tradition and popularity began resurging because he became imported. The idea of him became imported to North America and various North American media, including print, comic book series. the what's the one comic? The one that printed Superman originally.
DC.
No. Not Insane Comics. Not Clown Comics. Image Comics.
What?
Image Comics actually had a comic series.
Okay, so Image has nothing to do with Superman.
Yeah, but it was I had the image of Superman in my head, so I had
Spawn
to.
would be the best known
I know,
thing.
one of your favorites, if not your favorite. But because Action Comics first did Superman, I think, right? I think they were originally called Action, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, including print, comic book series, television, animation, live action movies, and songs. There's actually 3 groups out there that actually have like pro Krampus songs, and I couldn't figure out how to pronounce names, so I didn't write them down because I'm an asshole.
The artist Brahm, he has a book called Krampus.
Yeah.
And he wrote it
ROHM, correct?
No.
Oh.
The artist of that book wrote it.
Artist.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, artist, not.
No. An actual artist.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
He wrote the book and he did a bunch of illustrations in it. Mm-hmm. The fucking cover art for that book is awesome. But yeah, anyway.
Awesome. So the interesting thing about Krampus is there are 2 insects, 1 fish, and 1 microbacterium that are named after him.
Yeah.
So you've got the Anisotropus Krampus, which is a caddisfly.
Okay.
You've got the Astrocephacodes, Krampus, which is a sweat bee. It's a type of sweat bee. You've got the Promilus Krampus, which is an actintergian, or basically a ray-finned fish. Okay. And then, of course, you've got the Microbacterium phage Krampus. Mm. So Krampus is thought to... It's really interesting how people are like, oh, that totally looks like a Krampus, or whatever traits remind him of what a Krampus would be. St. Nicholas Day traditionally was on December 6th. Many parts of the world, areas of Germany, Europe, Dutch nationalities will still celebrate on December 6th. Krampus night is December 5th, and the biggest thing about that, and the way the tradition works and the way it's formatted, is Krampus and Nicholas are together.
Okay.
St. Nicholas, on Krampus night, St. Nicholas will not even address naughty children. He completely ignores them. So any child that he passed by is presumably naughty, and Krampus would get the switch out and deal with them, or decide to grab them, nab them, and stick them in his sack and take them off for punishment. Krampus does not, in any way, shape, or form, in any tradition, do anything positive or negative to good children. He can only focus, and he will only focus on naughty children. Mm-hmm. And just because I know you like to know stuff so much, and in case the question came up, there is actually a precursor to Krampus. His name was Perch, and he was a 2-legged humanoid goat man with a giraffe-like neck. And he wore animal furs, and he was from the Alpine region. And the history of him, which evolved into Krampus, it was because it became intertwined with Catholicism.
Okay.
He is the precursor to Krampus, and his purpose was to ward off evil spirits and drive out winter during the 12 days of Christmas. So in the Alpines, that's what he did, because they needed to start planting.
What?
Yeah.
It's in December.
Yeah, and food production has to happen all the time. So I'm guessing they didn't like it cold, because that's what the history says, is that the 12 days of Christmas, which is December 25th to January 5th, it was Perch's job, which is a precursor to Krampus, to go out and ward off any evil spirits and drive winter out. Tell winter it was time to start leaving.
Okay.
So... yeah, but I have 2 more fun facts.
Okay.
Christmas became a recognized holiday in the United States of America in 1870. It was signed into legislation by President Ulysses S. Grant, making it a federal holiday for federal workers and the District of Columbia.
Okay.
So when it first gets recognition, it's only for federal workers and the District of Columbia.
Okay.
Okay. Which obviously changed over time.
Yeah.
It didn't say specifically, it just said it changes over time.
Well, for one thing, all the federal workers stopped working, especially like in D.C. or around military bases. It's like, okay, there's no point in fucking being open at this fucking store because everybody's at home.
Yeah, because it was up to each state to adopt it in, and that's exactly what ended up happening was each state eventually adopted it in.
Yeah.
So, and the other really cool thing that I learned today at 3:38 this morning is the very first Christmas tree that was placed in the White House was placed during the presidency of Benjamin Harrison in 1889. The first appearance of the very first Christmas tree in the White House was on the second floor Oval Room and was decorated with glass ornaments, tentacles, Cthulhu, tinsel, and actual lit candles.
Oh, yeah.
Mic drop. Krampus and Kringle, you're welcome.
That actually I've seen videos where they basically lit candles on the Christmas tree.
Yep.
And basically, well, they like spray stuff on the Christmas tree to keep it from catching on fire.
Yeah, they spray fire retardant on it.
And then they have like these, basically a bunch of fuses, but they work really fast that go up and flare up where the candles are and then catch the candles on fire. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. It's really interesting because it's like, well, first of all, obviously for me having German heritage, it's like, oh, well, no wonder I find Krampus so cute. Yeah, I mean, obviously, probably explains why I think Danny McBride's so handsome.
You like monsters?
I like your average dude next door looks. My partner is fantastic to me. I love my ginger. He makes me giggle sometimes. Especially when he touches me.
Wow.
But I found it fascinating.
Bad Santa. Have you seen that movie? It's pretty good.
The one with Billy Bob?
Yeah.
I did see it once.
Yeah. And the chick from the Gilmore Girls, I want to say.
Lauren Graham? Yeah. I did find it interesting because it was just like, when I looked into it, because we'd kind of talked about it and we were just like, I wonder, right? And first of all, I was worried I was doing too much research, but I'm like, if I don't do this research and explain these things, because you can't, it's really hard to say, well, he's the patron saint of children without somebody going, why is St. Nicholas the patron saint of children? So you got to have the behind. But why did he have so many monikers that went with his name? Because of these other deeds that happened. And it's kind of fascinating because this guy, this St. Nicholas was so well revered even after his death that like 100 years later, a ruler who was reading his histories, doing his studies and everything, was impressed with just the way that St. Nicholas treated everybody. Because when he was a young man, before he really decided to dedicate his life to the church and all that, which he didn't even really dedicate. I mean, he did, but he didn't. But anyways, he actually went on a pilgrimage. Okay. And so he left and he went to these other places and he did what we call, what's that thing where they go to now? Like missionary work.
Okay.
And he went and did missionary work and he helped people there without asking for thanks, simply because his family had the money and afforded him the ability to do it. And instead of turning into somebody who could be like, I have a lot of money and I'm totally gonna rub it in your face. He didn't do that. He was very modest. He like tried to kind of slough it off, but it impressed the emperor so much that he had the very first church built in honor of St. Nicholas. Not just we're renaming this church. He actually had one built from the ground up. And they did move, St. Nicholas's bones were actually moved from his original burial site to this other site. And I thought it had printed out with that, but I think that I had a problem when I was typing and then that whole chaos of, oh shit, later in the day. So anyways, or later in the morning. Anyways, so yeah, his bones have been moved once, but his bones are, that would be one of those ones that I would be fascinated to see what a DNA test revealed about it. You know what I mean? Because when you see different pictures of St. Nicholas, Nicholas, the patron saint of children. When you see him, there's a lot of people who depict him as younger because they don't actually realize he comes from a region in Turkey, which naturally he is going to be a little darker skin. He's not as pale and fat and white as anybody thinks. He was not a fat dude.
Yeah, the images that we have of him are based on like other stuff, completely different people. Like robber barons and some famous Americans are what his image is based off of. Has nothing to do with Saint Nicholas.
Yeah. Well, I didn't completely research Santa Claus, just Saint Nicholas.
Yeah.
Well, Saint Nicholas and Krampus, because you can't have one without having the other. But I do know that, like, so when you talk about Sinterklaas, there's one actor who portrayed Sinterklaas every year for like 20 years, well over 20 years. And I can't remember his name right now, like Berg or something. Anyways, he was 86 years old. He died during the COVID pandemic. He contracted COVID and he couldn't fight off the respiratory infections you get and everything. So at 86 years old, they'd lost who they became to know. He was slightly pudgy in the middle, but he was not a fat man by any means.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, it's not just certain people that it was named after. A lot of people would add padding even to the old Sinterklaas, just so he would seem more approachable by people. You know, because fat people are associated with being jolly and they're not as scary as athletic people. But Nicholas, the patron saint, like, man, like he obviously, and they even say it when you read the history type stuff, that like obviously some things are exaggerated, but there are some stories that have literally been told since his death till now, handed down generation over generation over generation, and finally written down, where people who never even knew each other had the exact same story. So there is definitely a high amount of belief in the abilities he had. And like when you look at the for me, I would love to believe in magic. You know what I mean? I would truly, truly, truly love to believe that type of magic exists, where he's walking down the street and he senses, literally he sensed, he dreamed, he knew that this butcher had murdered these 3 children, and he went and resurrected. I would love to believe that that's exactly how it was. When the reality, most likely, because he was constantly walking the streets of a city, most likely the butcher had captured the 3 children and had put them in a barrel of brine to kill them later, and he had heard their cries. I'm sure that's probably more like that. But yeah, the you know, nobody ever worried. Sailors never worried. They always asked like for his blessing, you know, because he always calmed the seas, which is a really interesting thing, because like, dude, was he like tight with Zeus? You know what I'm saying?
Or more likely Poseidon.
It's fascinating because so this emperor, this Roman emperor, whatever, who built, it was like almost 100 years after his death, close to it. It was like 1280 something, I think. So it was within 1,000 years of his 100. 1,000 years. Sorry,
if it's 12 something.
Me and math don't do so good sometimes. But during his studies, he'd read all about this, and it just impressed upon him how rulers and authority figures should be. And so that says a lot about the type of character he was known to have, when all these hundreds of years later, they're still celebrating him. Yeah. And, you know, it's just like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he predates the Catholic Church at that point, which would then mean that he got sainted way, way, way after the fact.
Well, that's the thing, is that everybody, when he was alive, called him, "Oh, Nicholas, you're the patron saint of all our children."
I don't think there was such a thing prior to the Catholic Church.
No, that's what people told him. You are our patron of children. You're our patron. Okay. You are so saintly over these people. So I know that the Catholic Church, yeah, I understand that. But before that, people were saying he was such a patron. He was so saintly over children. He was such a patron that he was so saintly over soldiers. So I don't give a fuck. Don't give me that fucking look. I didn't write the fucking history. Yeah. I read it. I didn't write it.
I understand them saying patron, but I don't think even the term saint was a term prior to the Catholic Church.
He has been called the patron saint of children since before his death, according to what they write on them interwebs through 7 different fucking articles and a Wikipedia page. Don't criticize me because that's the information they have out there.
I'm just saying. I kind of doubt the term saint was being thrown around. Patron, sure. Saint, probably not. I think that maybe the person who wrote that article was embellishing.
I don't know. I didn't. I don't give.
Yeah.
Here, you can take all this. You can go look it up yourself because I didn't. You're such a dick. Such a dick. I understand what you're saying. However, that's what's out there. Yeah. That's what people can find when they do the research. If they choose to do the research, it's there. So just let it be. Be like John Lennon and let it be.
I don't care.
You do care because you're like, no. You got your downturned little pouty face on. No.
Actually, I'm smiling.
Because I can already see the wheels in your head going clickety, clickety, click. Whoever wrote those articles, stupid. What an idiot. They're dumb.
I mean, I could be wrong. The term saint could have meant something different before the Catholics started using it.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I know about the word saint, as far as what it used to mean, was somebody who was not godlike, but somebody who was like highly respectful and did no wrong. I mean, the dude never married. He's presumed to have been like
a virgin. He was an incel.
The point is, it's really dead. The point is, it's a really cool history when you look at it, and you look at. So we're in 2025, right? So this guy died, almost 1,700 years ago. Yeah, and we're still talking about him today because we have this ideology about being good to people and kind to people. And, you got people going, I can't be good and kind. Look at St. Nicholas. He did it. And he was imprisoned. And that's the thing is, even when he was imprisoned, he didn't blame the jailers. He didn't get upset. He just tried to be kind to other people who were fucking jailed like he was.
Yeah.
So other prisoners, he showed with kindness. And he would thank them profusely once he was let out. He never expected to be let out, and it's kind of amazing when you go back that this dude lived into his 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you maybe it's a Greek thing. I don't know. We see all these different characters in history and a lot of them don't live past 50.
I mean, a lot of like the philosophers and stuff lived into their 60s, 70s, 80s.
Because they have plush life. They didn't have to work hard.
Some of those people had extremely hard lives, but some of them, it was their own choice. I can't remember the dude's name, but there was a dude who fucking, he basically lived in like a fucking barrel or some shit. And it was because he chose to do that. He gave up all worldly possessions.
Right.
And he basically lived as a bum. Although I guess he earned food by teaching people his philosophy or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Krampus and Kringle. I find both the origin stories extremely fascinating, especially Krampus, because I was just like, I'm reading along and I'm going, I'm like, but I know Dagda. And he's going to be like, but what inspired Krampus? And I found it for you. It might not make sense to you. Like, why would they have a guy roaming around the Alps to the different towns for 12 days trying to ward off any evil spirits and trying to make the winter go away? It's because they wanted to get earlier and earlier crops. I mean, you need to grow food year round if you can. And so but it also makes sense because if you look at it in just the terminology of winter, it's harder to stay warm and fuel in winter. So if you can get winter to let up a little bit, you're not going to have as many people freezing to death and starving to death. But just the fact that this crazy dude dressed up in animal pelts because he just knew that that's how you could ward off evil spirits and make winter go away faster is pretty fucking cool.
Sure.
It's really cool. And it's obviously it's really cool because when we look at the fact that he was supposedly he was half man, half goat or whatever. and had the cloven hooves or whatever, the cloven feet. It's like, no, he probably had fucking club feet, or, you know, there's been people who've been born with like lobster feet where they only have 1 or 2 digits.
Yeah.
And if you're walking around barefoot most of the time, your feet can be dirty. So it would be easy to mistake them as, you know, not everybody on the planet is as smart as you. So some people just enjoy the stories.
Yeah, sure.
Of the folklore.
Yeah.
Do you have a Sheldon moment where when you get home at night, you sit there and you like go and lay out, just yell out everything that you believe to be 100% true or you can empirically prove to be true? No. Despite what mainstream media or like whatever's written in the history book says?
If that were the case, I wouldn't like mythology.
Because you're giving me a hard time about this folklore.
Not really.
Oh my God.
Do you want to see me give you a hard time about the folklore?
No, I'd like to see you raise both your hands over your head, but you can't do that either.
Yes, I can. Watch this. There we go.
Oh my God, your eye twitched. Don't do that. No,
that was as far as I could go without any pain.
Nice. That's actually better than it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's good. No, I find it interesting just because, you know, we do take these things that, you know, we take certain things for granted. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's probably why they took and converted this folklore being, you know, perched, P-E-R-C-H-T, perched.
Okay.
Where they took him where he was there for a good causality of just comforting people during the coldest time of the year. Mm-hmm. And I can make it better. You're like, so it's good intent, right? But then everybody became, I think, just my interpretation as just a lonely, dumb person reading it. I think the reason why Krampus became so prevalent for a long period of time is because people started taking advantage and they were like, why didn't Nicholas leave? I've been good enough. I want some treats. I want some candy. I want free money. And I think that was not what the spirit was supposed to be behind. So I think they introduce, well, you know, there's this guy. You thought Black Pete was bad. we got somebody straight from hell for you. You know, but yeah, I was shocked when they were talking about Black Pete. Was generally speaking, like basically sounded like he was a fucking dwarf, like kind of white or light skin. And he fucking covered his face with black paint. Oh my God. I was just like, they were blackfacing it back then. Holy shit.
I mean, sure. I'm sure they were doing it before then.
Well, yeah, it just was shocking to me because I was just like, first of all, I didn't expect it to be so honest about it. Mm-hmm. And second of all, I was just like,
I always thought maybe this is like the origin of Black Pete or whatever, but I always thought it was an actual black dude that hung out with Saint Nick.
There might be that happened as some version, but in the original Germanic and Czech version, no. In the original, I don't know that there was a lot of black people over then at that time in Europe.
I mean,
not in that specific area.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that where St. Nicholas was at, there was probably a fair amount of black people.
Oh, the actual St. Nicholas?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Black Pete.
Saint Nicholas,
so Black Pete has no association with the actual Black Nicholas, or I mean, St. Nicholas whatsoever. He literally, Santa Claus.
Is an invention of the Germanic people?
That is correct. He is an invention to go with Santa Claus, who is stylized in nature after St. Nicholas.
Okay.
So he literally, basically, he's the first iteration of elves because he almost wears.
No. Carry on, though.
As far as being Santa's helper.
Okay, maybe as far as being Santa's
I'm like, oh my God, you can't do that. Oh my God.
He's the first elf.
No, first iteration of a helper for Santa as far as what they would term an elf.
Okay.
For the first helper of Santa, he was short in stature, like he was like either a midget or a dwarf, and he like had crooked feet, and anyways. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this isn't Middle Earth. Don't get your panties all in a bunch, for fuck's sake. Jesus. We're talking about Santa Claus.
I don't know. Some of those Odin worshippers might come and smack the shit out of you for saying that he was the first elf.
I didn't say he was the first elf. I said...
You did actually say that.
Well, you cut me off as I'm saying he's the first
I just
elf.
Was shaking my head.
He's the first elf helper associated with Santa Claus.
Okay.
Anyways. Anyways. So it was fun to read about. Well, now it's not fun. When I did it when I did it earlier, it was fun. Now it's not so fun because I feel like I'm like just telling you the stuff that they had written down, and why are you getting agitated with me? Oh my god! Thank God for coffee, for fuck's sake.
You'll be all right someday.
I know. Fucking day I smashed my head into a pole, for fuck's sake. I know, it was really interesting because there's a lot of different perspectives out there. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing, the thing that I found was most interesting, and I'm a red-blooded American. You're a red-blooded American. Mm-hmm. But we literally have taken what the tradition of Christmas is for, mm-hmm. and we have just bastardized it.
Yeah.
I mean, we really have, because instead of taking it about like, this is the time for families who have worked hard to succeed all year, and it's a way of giving thanks to each other. We've like, oh, are you going to get me a new iPhone? What about the iPad? Oh, don't talk to me unless you get me all of the new like $900 MK bags. Everything is about consumerism now and commercialism now. It's just, ugh.
Yeah.
Like me personally, I would take quality time with people I love over, oh, cool, you got me a new notepad.
Yeah, I stopped caring about Christmas when I was about 13.
And is that because of something that happened, or just because it dawned on you that none of that really mattered? What mattered was, the time you get with your family that you have.
Yeah, it's basically like, most of this is nonsense. I don't care anymore.
It's kind of interesting. You are definitely a person where it's just like the minute you decide not to care, you don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm that way too. It takes me a little longer to get to that point. Mm-hmm. But once I decide that I don't give a fuck about this, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
And for you, let me ask you this. For you, can you feel yourself on that precipice when you're about to not give fucks about stuff anymore? Or is it more like you just wake up and you're like, you know what? I'm done fucking caring about this.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes also it's like I'll find myself going into some sort of a negative emotional state, and I'll be like, you know what? This is not fucking worth it. I don't fucking care anymore, and just make the decision to not fucking care.
Yeah.
Yeah, other times it will just be one of those things that just happens. Be like, okay, yeah, whatever.
See, I don't have that. I don't have that half and half or in between. For me, it's always that I feel myself getting on I feel it coming on, and it just mentally and emotionally overwhelms me, because it's like, this is something I fought for. This is something I worked towards. This is something I wanted. And I'm just at the point, it's beating a dead horse. I'm about to not give a fuck anymore. And then I get incredibly sad. But I can feel it when that precipice is right there, because I find myself not wanting to socially interact with people very much. Mm-hmm. I find myself doing things that are not healthy. But I mean, luckily I don't drink anymore. Thank Jesus.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because like, I wish that now on the one hand, I understand retailers are going to be like, you bitch. But I wish there was a way where people could just let it be. Just enjoy the time with the people you have. Obviously, back in 1996, my grandfather died on Christmas Day. And the VA hospital resuscitated him so that his actual death would be December 26th. So, there's always that fear you have that history is going to continue.
I mean,
so I'm like,
die every day, so it's going to happen.
Yeah,
just like people are born every day, so it's going to happen.
Yeah. So I don't let it ruin Christmas for me. I just remember all the time I had with him beforehand. Like, I spent a lot of time with him before that since my grandmother had died. Like, what was that? 4 or 5 years before him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I spent a ton of time with him. I was there 2-3 days a week. I would cook for him. I would clean for him. My aunt did the other duties, but him and I would still farm together as long as he could. And I mean, it was great. Mm-hmm. So, I always wish that people would spend more time. I wish people were, even though you and I don't always agree, and sometimes you inadvertently hurt my feelings. Mm-hmm. You're like, you should see this look on his face. You're sitting there like, inadvertent, yes. But you already got your fucking Christmas gift yesterday. Because what happened yesterday at the end of the day? When Jen was in starting to prepare dinner for her partner, what happened when you were getting your backpack together and Jen was in the kitchen?
What?
Somebody was in here getting their backpack stuff together, packing up for the evening to go home, and said...
I don't remember what you're talking about.
War.
Oh.
And what happened?
Oh, any fucking way. That's your own problem. That's not my fault.
I'm in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I start going, gore, 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 gore. And what did you do, sir?
I laughed.
And said, yes!
Yeah, that had nothing to do with me. That was you falling in love with gore.
No! I'll tell you what. No. But what's funny is I told my partner that story last night and he goes, you what? And I was just like, I thought he said gore. So I thought maybe he was just singing the gore song. So I was just like trying to be supportive, like gore, 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 gore. I was just like the look. I don't even think you saw the look on my face because I put my knife down and went internally. I'm going, what just happened? And you're all laughing. You're like, yes, finally. I'm like, it only took fucking 15 years. But, anyways, if I had a wish to give everybody in the world this year, besides being financially stable for whatever they need to be financially stable.
Give them all a Coke.
Ugh. They can go buy all the Coke they want. I don't fucking do any of that shit.
There's a whole ass song about that.
Yeah, I don't drink soda, so I don't promote soda.
Anyway.
I haven't drank soda in so long. I'm just like, ew, why would you want to buy soda pop? Although Liam Layton's almost got me convinced to try sugar-free root beer.
Yeah, but root beer's good.
I don't know. Anyways, it's been so long. I think it would probably make me sick, honestly. But anyways, even though it is not always steady, calm waters, and there are times where we frustrate each other, we're very supportive of each other. And I sincerely wish everybody out there has at least one friendship like we do. I mean, I'm not you. I'm not the golden child, so I don't have 14 friendships like this. I don't spread myself around like a whore like you do.
Any fucking way.
Dagda, the friendly whore. Sorry.
In order to ride this, you must like gore.
Fuck that. No, sir. That's too much of a hard knock life for sure.
It's a hard knock life for us.
Yeah, that kind of tripped me out reading those lyrics.
Yeah.
No, that would be my wish to everybody because obviously, you're not going to get somebody like, what's his name? I was just talking about him last night. We were just talking about him yesterday. The guy with all the fucking money, Warren Buffett. It's not like he's going to walk up to every American household and be like, here's $1,000. Here's $1,000. I mean, that literally would go through his fortune very quickly.
Yeah.
If he gave $1,000 to 333 million, that would be like 333 billion.
If it was only every household, that would be a significantly smaller number. But yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. But still, either way, he's not going to ride around and give everybody money. I most certainly don't have money to give people. So I would wish for them, to have at least one friend or even a close family member in their life, somebody in their life that they can bust each other's balls and be okay at the end of the day and know that it's okay to get like frustrated or be invested in each other's happiness and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You're such a cocksucker. Like if some days I swear to God, I'm just like, he's only my friend. So I take him to the VA so he doesn't have to use the transit system. I do actually have days like that. Now they're few and far between, but I'm just like, hey, whatever. Because I know there's a lot of people out there. And the only reason why I know it is because, I know it is because I do read statistics. There's a lot of people who are alone. Mm-hmm. And so it was really cool to me when we were looking at the scheduling of things. And I was like, oh, my God, this is going to be at Christmas Eve. So there's going to be somebody out there, one of our, listeners out there who might just need a good little laugh.
Yeah.
And, so just so they know, you guys are not alone. You can be an introvert. You can be an extrovert. You're not alone. We're wishing everybody a happy holiday season. We're wishing everybody internal peace and joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And may prosperity find you as we head towards the new year, right?
May harmony find you.
Yes. And remember, if it's not out already, Hypnotic Gifts is coming.
Phrasing people.
You like it when it's coming, though.
Yeah.
You're so fucking lazy, though, about it. You're like, that's my Christmas wish, is that somebody will sit on my minuscule penis until I'm coming, and I'm pumping, and I'm coming.
In the gym.
Ew, I didn't think you liked gyms. Oh, you mean like gem, like GEM. Oh.
No, I'm not into strippers. GYM.
I guarantee you, well, I actually cannot guarantee that nobody in the gym wants to see you coming. They might. It might be where you're the most popular. I don't know. I hope everybody has a good holiday.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Later.
Fucking savage. Bye.
Bye. Welcome to Everyday Life. Thank you for joining our podcast, Conversations Over Coffee. My name is Jen.
And I'm Dagda.
And we're going to hit you with the explicit content warning right off the bat. This podcast does include adult situations and adult language from time to time.
I'm an angel. I never fucking cuss.
Okay. Anyways, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go.